Oh, Henshaw here again, Constitutional Crisis Channel, and this is another in our series of current events. And this one goes back to last season with the onset of the new football season, which is not what we're going to be talking about. But those of you who go back to my videos that far know that I'm in support of what Colin Kaepernick is doing by taking a knee, and now some other players are doing the same thing. But I've had a bit of a change in position, having given the matter some more thought, and that is to say, I would not be taking a knee here and kneeling, just like a slave would to a master. I'd be standing up, and I'd be flipping off the national anthem and the flag, both. But that's not really what I'd be doing, and it isn't what Kaepernick is doing either. The deal here is we're challenging the government that has confiscated these signs of our federated Republican government and is using them for their own purposes when it isn't even a government at all, and my documents and paperwork have proved that several times over. This is the problem. And for me, the only exception I might make here, and this just occurred recently, is, during the playing of the anthem and all the events, commemorating, quote-unquote, the events of 9/11 of 2001. That I might make an exception for, but even then, believing as I do that this whole event was orchestrated by, if not paid for by, our government behind the scenes and those banksters at their 120 Broadway, New York, New York, you just wonder whether it's worth, and you certainly don't want to do anything derogatory to the victims of that terrible tragedy. But at the same time, it's the government behind it, and they're just as guilty, and even more so in that setting as they would be in a regular football game or what have you. But that said, I encourage this. I hope it goes on more, and we will see what develops. But this whole thing, they're taking over the whole government. We don't have any rights, if you haven't noticed it lately. There's not a damn thing you can do that the government can't control. And, from when I was in high school 50 years ago, the only thing we heard from the infamous Dred Scott case was that Chief Justice Roger Brooke-Taney said, and he said it exactly, that the black man has no rights the white man is bound to respect. That's in there. What they didn't tell us at the time, and I didn't know until quite a bit later, and I'm partially responsible for that, is the context of the statement. Because if you read it, you find out he was talking about the time leading up to the Constitution and the American Revolution. And that's how the situation was then. It had nothing to do with then current events in 1857 when that case was decided. What they don't want you to know is there's a lot of dicta in this case that some of the justices put in there about the limits of Congress, over territories. And there are limits on their powers there, even though most congressmen won't tell you that they think there are. Article 4, Section 3 is not an unlimited grant of power, and it never was. So if you read Scott and you read these things, and there's not the holding of the case, they didn't decide it, I think what they were doing was anticipating they were going to get questions like this coming to the court, and they wanted to give litigants an idea of where they would go when cases like that got there. That's why it's infamous. But this whole government it's a sick joke. The documents I have and the issues I raise, and those of you that purchase my documents, you'll see what I have. And by the way, in that regard, I should mention that subscribers to my videos now get a 10% discount off my document packages, so thank you for doing that. And I would appreciate, too, if you would, put a like on my videos at the bottom and tell your friends and get a wider distribution, and we'll do better when more and more of us get into their courts. This is what's going to stop them, because they can't deny all of us. So that would be a really big deal, too. So check out the document package information on the bottom here, and email me. I can send you information about documents and some of the instructions and some other odds and ends with those, and maybe a sample or two of the work I do, which I must say is pretty damn good, because I'm sitting here right now 21-0 against state bar licensed attorneys, and without opposition, ever. They don't know what to do with me. They won't know what to do with you either. It isn't nearly as hard as what it sounds like. It'll help if you do your share of homework too and get familiar with 4 or 5 of the main issues. But that's about all you have to do, because they don't teach this stuff in law school. Or to the higher level ones they do, they actively conceal it. And those are the ones I want to put in jail more than anything else. That's treason. They should not be permitted to do it. You shouldn't want them to do it. And once we start sending them to jail, that's going to change things in a hurry. because now we're going to have the power, and they're not going to have anywhere to go. That's the whole point of what it is I do. Well, I've kind of run on here a bit, but I just wanted to make the point that, Kaepernick is doing the right thing, and for a good reason, but for not nearly the amount of right reasons that could be occurring. And that's what I want to spread the word and say. This is why we don't take any BS from these people anymore. We stand up and say, wait just a minute here. We're the beneficiaries of the trust. You're the trustees, aka flunkies. We tell you what to do, not the other way around. If that's the only thing I can teach you and help you to get that sense of self-esteem and power you're going to get from this, like I did in South Carolina, God, I wish I had videos of that. You could see it. I mean, I just shut them down like you can't believe inside of 30 seconds. Dead silence. You can do the same. It's not that hard. Thank you.